On a peaceful evening in the town of Pineville, a desperate scream echoed through the neighborhood, drawing the attention of all the residents. Sarah, a young mother, ran toward the sound, her heart pounding. When she arrived, she found her son, Tommy, pointing to the sky with wide eyes. "Look, Mom, a wolf on the roof!" he exclaimed, trembling with fear. Sarah looked up and saw a huge gray wolf, its eyes shining intensely in the twilight. The news of the wolf on the roof spread quickly through the town. People gathered in front of Sarah's house, curious and scared. No one knew where the wolf had come from or how it had gotten there. Determined to protect her family, Sarah tried to scare the wolf away with shouts and gestures, but the animal remained still, watching everyone with unsettling calm. The local sheriff, John, was called to handle the situation. When John arrived, he armed himself with a tranquilizer, ready to solve the problem without causing harm. He approached the wolf slowly, but before he could act, the animal let out a chilling howl that reverberated through the neighborhood, making everyone retreat in fear. However, instead of attacking, the wolf gracefully descended from the roof and walked toward Sarah and Tommy. What happened next left everyone speechless. The wolf approached Tommy and gently touched its snout to his hand. Tommy, initially paralyzed with fear, felt a sudden sense of calm and comfort. Sarah watched, astonished, as her son petted the wolf. John lowered his weapon, realizing the animal posed no immediate threat. "What's happening?" Sarah thought, trying to make sense of the surreal scene. Meanwhile, in the nearby forest, an old legend began to resurface. The elders remembered stories told by their grandparents about a guardian wolf, a protective spirit that appeared in times of great need. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together in Sarah's mind. She recalled an old story her grandmother had told about a wolf that protected the family in times of danger. But why had the wolf appeared now? What message was it bringing? Still in shock from the events, Sarah knew she had to act quickly. She brought the wolf inside, despite the curious looks from her neighbors. The connection between Tommy and the wolf was evident. The animal lay calmly beside the boy, as if wanting to protect him. Sarah, still full of questions, tried to understand what was happening. That night, as Sarah prepared dinner, she heard strange noises coming from the garden. She looked out the window and saw shadows moving near the fence. Her heart raced, but before she could react, the wolf began to growl fiercely, positioning itself between Tommy and the back door. Sarah picked Tommy up and prepared to face whatever was out there. When she opened the back door, Sarah was surprised by a group of rough-looking men trying to break into her house. The wolf didn't hesitate and attacked, fiercely defending the family. The men, caught off guard by the wolf's bravery, retreated, but one of them managed to grab Tommy, trying to use him as a hostage. Desperate, Sarah pleaded for them to release her son. With impressive agility, the wolf lunged at the man holding Tommy, forcing him to release the boy. The wolf continued to protect Sarah and Tommy, fighting off the intruders with frightening determination. Panic gripped the men, who finally decided to flee, leaving Sarah and Tommy unharmed, thanks to the protective wolf. After the confrontation, Sarah hugged Tommy tightly while the wolf, exhausted but victorious, lay down beside them, vigilant. Sarah knew that the wolf wasn't there by chance. It had saved their lives and shown a loyalty she never imagined possible. The wolf was now part of the family, a true hero who had appeared in their darkest moment to bring light and safety. The next morning, Sarah woke up feeling as if it had all been a nightmare. But seeing the wolf lying by the fireplace and Tommy sleeping peacefully, she knew it had all been real. She decided it was time to learn more about the wolf that had become part of their lives. She took the wolf to the local vet, Dr. Miller, for an examination and possible answers. Dr. Miller was impressed with the wolf. "This is no ordinary wolf," he said, examining the animal. "He's extremely healthy and seems to have been well cared for. Maybe he belonged to someone before." Sarah was relieved to know the wolf was okay, but the questions about his origin only grew. Dr. Miller suggested she contact an animal behavior specialist to better understand the wolf. While waiting for the specialist's visit, Sarah noticed significant changes in Tommy. The boy, who had been shy and introverted, now showed renewed confidence. He and the wolf became inseparable, spending hours playing in the yard. It was as if the wolf's presence had given Tommy a new perspective on life, a courage he had never shown before. But before we continue, Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you love animals and their fascinating stories. The animal behavior specialist, Dr. Emily Collins, arrived a few days later. She observed the wolf interacting with Tommy and was fascinated. "He has a very strong protective instinct," she said. "It's rare to see a wolf behaving like this with humans, especially with a child. There's something very special about this bond." Dr. Collins proposed a series of tests to better understand the relationship between the wolf and Tommy. During the tests, it became clear that the wolf not only protected Tommy, but also guided him in times of need. When Tommy fell or felt sad, the wolf was always there, offering comfort in ways that went beyond common understanding between humans and animals. Dr. Collins was increasingly intrigued, and Sarah felt she was about to discover something extraordinary about their four-legged protector. Meanwhile, in the forest, a group of hunters began to notice the wolf's absence. They knew he was special and had planned to capture him for fame and money. One day, following the wolf's tracks, the hunters reached Sarah's house. Determined to take the wolf, they began to surround the property, waiting for the right moment to strike. Sarah, noticing the hunters' presence, was terrified. She knew the wolf couldn't fall into their hands. She called Sheriff John, explaining the situation. John promised to send help immediately, but Sarah knew she needed to buy time. She decided to hide Tommy and the wolf in the basement, hoping the hunters wouldn't find them. The hunters, impatient, broke into Sarah's house, searching every room for the wolf. Sarah tried to stop them but was pushed aside. In the basement, Tommy clung to the wolf, his heart racing with fear. The wolf, however, was calm, as if knowing it needed to protect its friend. As the hunters approached the basement, the wolf began to growl softly, ready to defend Tommy at all costs. Just as the hunters were about to open the door, the sound of sirens echoed down the street. The hunters exchanged looks, realizing the police had arrived. In a last act of desperation, they decided to flee, leaving Sarah, Tommy, and the wolf in peace. John and his officers entered the house, finding Sarah trembling but relieved. She led them to the basement, where they found Tommy and the wolf, both safe and sound. John promised the hunters would be found and arrested. Sarah thanked them, feeling a wave of gratitude for everyone who had helped her. In the days that followed, the story of the guardian wolf spread through Pineville, becoming a local legend. People came from far and wide to see the wolf that had saved Sarah and Tommy, admiring its courage and loyalty. Dr. Collins continued to study the wolf, fascinated by its unusual behavior. Tommy, now more confident than ever, began sharing his story with other children in the town. He and the wolf became inseparable, and the wolf's presence brought new light to Sarah's life. The family knew that despite the challenges they had faced, they had found a true guardian in their gray wolf. The relationship between Tommy and the wolf grew, teaching everyone around them about the importance of empathy and respect for animals. The wolf, who had appeared in a moment of despair, became a symbol of protection and unconditional friendship. Pineville would never be the same, forever marked by the story of an extraordinary wolf and its indomitable courage. Thus, the wolf remained with Sarah and Tommy, living in peace and bringing joy to everyone around them. They knew that no matter what the future held, the wolf would always be there to protect them, a true guardian of the family and a loyal friend until the end. Thank you for watching this incredible story of courage and loyalty. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and leave your like so you don't miss any of our exciting stories. See you next time.